Hello and welcome to another episode of Interlinked by CNES by OP Jindal Global University. Interlinked is a podcast where we try to break intellectual barriers and approach key issues through policy and research perspectives. We try to do this through deep conversations and involving landscapes of society, economy, and polity. Today's episode, we will be delving into the idea of technology in the world of education. Living in a country where we are not without poverty, education is something that is revered and is looked at as somewhat of a hope. Keeping this in mind, we will be going into how technology acts as a tool in aiding education and the work it has already done, along with the work it continues to do. For this conversation, we have a very eminent personality with us, Mr. Shankar Maruvada, who is both the founder and the CEO of EkStep Foundation, an organization which at its very birth decided to reach out to over 200 million children. He has also been part of the team that uh, founded Aadhaar, which has changed all of our lives significantly. Mr. Shankar is thus a huge part of the development sector, and he has taken huge leaps for every Indian. Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Shankar. We are very grateful.
Thank you, Nandini, for having me on your podcast.
Well, I'll just go right into the questions. The first question here is about your goal. So as I said, Ekstep wanted to reach to over 200 million children. I wanted to ask if this was the ultimate goal, or was this an aim towards a certain target? Was there a larger goal that you were aiming towards, and this was a step in that direction?
Yeah, it was a step in the direction,
Mm,
and the larger goal was how can we improve learning outcomes?
mm,
But improving learning outcomes in education for a country as big and diverse as India is extremely complex. No
mm,
one organization, even if you are the government, can do that. So the reason we set this goal of 200 million by 2020 and technology enabled was a few reasons. One, the size or the goal of 200 million was because that is how big the problem is.
mm,
And we try to solve a problem at the scale at which it is and not just the scale at which we can solve. So, what does
mm,
that do? Now you've set a goal which is much higher than what you as an organization can do, as Extra Foundation, what we could do. So, what's the next logical step? We have to work with others,
mm,
like Sarkar, Samaj, and Bazaar, because it's a problem of society and not the problem of any one organization. So,
mm,
it forces us to collaborate with all the various actors who are trying to solve the same problem. But instead of that, if I said we want to solve for 1 million children, that is my problem in a limited geography.
mm,
So, first point is solve the problem at the scale at which it is. Second, in doing so, collaborate with others to solve. But in that, what is our strength? What do we bring to the table? Our strength is we understand technology well, and we can figure out how technology can enable people to do something better. The technology creates possibilities.
mm,
These are enablers in education.
mm.
So that's how we set up this goal that create a digital infrastructure for 200 million children to help them increase their access to learning content.
Mm. You spoke about how technology enables education. But what I feel like from what I've observed in the life that I've had is that what's really important in education or any sort of learning for that matter is the connection between the child and the teacher or the child and the peers. So this education that is enabled by technology or is aided by technology, do you think this sort of education has any effect in any manner on these connections?
Great question, Nandini. The important thing is it is the people who have to decide whether the technology helps them or not.
Mm.
Right? I'm sure in colleges nowadays you use ChatGPT, right? Nobody's told you to do so, but you do it because it helps you, right? So likewise, the best technology is that which teachers use because it helps them do their job better.
Mm.
And by better, I mean more convenient, cheaper, faster. And similarly, children use a technology because it helps them do some things which otherwise they cannot do. But even that is the second best, it's the second best use of technology. And therefore, what is the best use of technology? When we don't even think of it as technology.
Mm.
It's so part of our lives. We don't think of WhatsApp as technology anymore. We don't think of television as technology anymore. Because technology has got integrated into our lives. Right? What I'm wearing at 500 years ago was very sophisticated ocular technology for the eyes. We don't think of
Yeah.
specs as technology anymore, right? So if technology can be designed so that it fits in seamlessly
Mm.
into someone's life, that is a good use of technology. And we call that as people plus technology and
Mm.
not technology plus people. It's a philosophy that technology has to fit into the lives of people, whether it be teachers, children, parents of students, administrators.
Mm. Another question that I had was that other places you've spoken about artificial intelligence and how it has aided the efficiency of DPI. So could you a little bit talk about what is DPI and your involvement briefly
Yeah.
with it?
Yeah, DPI stands for Digital Public Infrastructure.
Mm.
It's a new idea, but inspired by something very, very old. Roads, airports,
Mm.
they're all infrastructure. Why are they infrastructure? The same road can be used for any kind of vehicle. The same airport and runway can be used for many kinds of planes. And those who operate a road, an airport, electricity is another kind of infrastructure. So if it's public infrastructure, which means anybody can use it without cost, right? Digital public infrastructure is also an idea we're all familiar with. Internet, GPS, mobile phone, the GSM standards, these are all digital public infrastructure. In that, they're not solutions in themselves, but others can build solutions on top of this. So in India, Aadhaar was the first DPI. Why? Because it was not meant to be a solution alone. Like a road, it is meant to help others with their solutions. So when you go to a mobile phone and do your eKYC, the mobile phone company is using Aadhaar. When you go to an airport and use DigiYatra, they are using Aadhaar. When you go to a bank to get a new account, they are using Aadhaar. If you are proving your identity to get rations, right? That proving of identity is done using Aadhaar. So in all of these cases, these others are not creating their own identity. They are using Aadhaar. This idea is called a shared capability. A road is a shared capability. Otherwise, can you imagine when you buy a car, you have to pay for the road also?
Mm.
Because the car says, no, I only ride on my road. It sounds like a silly idea.
Yeah.
Car makers don't worry about road because somebody else is providing that as a service, right? So in India, over the last 15 years, we have created several of these DPIs. Aadhaar was the first. UPI, which you would have used, is the second. Like that, DigiLocker is one more. During COVID, CoWIN was one more. And as Expert Foundation, we created a DPI called Diksha. All of these work at massive scale. All of these are such that they provide a service to others. A road provides a service to cars, right? The road should be good. It should have proper markings. Digital public infrastructure provides a service. That service means others don't have to provide that service. They can use that service. When you are selling a car, you don't have to provide a road with the car. When you are selling an airplane, you don't have to provide the airport because someone else is providing it. And all these examples, UPI. So when you use GPay, GPay doesn't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure. That is UPI. So this idea is DPI. Now, the relationship between DPI and AI is AI can help to improve our DPI. So when you use a DigiYatra, that iris scan that happens is actually AI being used to verify whether you're indeed who you say you are. And likewise in Diksha, AI is used to improve Diksha. On the other hand, because DPIs are massive and hundreds of millions of people use it, very quickly AI can reach all of these people. So whether it is UPI or Aadhaar, the effectiveness of a DPI increases when AI. One example of that is voice-based. I can speak to a consumer grievance thing in Aadhaar. So I can talk in my language, and because of AI, it understands I'm speaking Bengali. It allows me to register my complaint. And so consumer grievance in Aadhaar is now done using AI in Indian languages. So I don't have to understand English or Hindi. That's just one example of how AI improves DPI and how, because of Aadhaar's reach, the impact of AI goes to every Indian.
So you've spoken about how because of AI, DPI is reaching every Indian, it's spreading well. So applying this in the case of education, do you think now the technology, since it has helped spread education, can it also enhance the quality of education, or is it something it has already been working towards?
Did you mean Diksha or AI?
Diksha,
Diksha,
what you have observed is
yeah.
in your work with education, how AI and technology have they helped in the enhancement of education as well, the quality?
Yeah. So to me, it again goes back to infrastructure. Can a road help you get from place A to place B? It's not the road, right? But without a road, you will not get there. That's the role of infrastructure. Does a lamp light up your room? Or does electricity light up the lamp which lights up the room?
The electricity.
Right. So if you say does electricity provide you light, warmth, cool? Yes or no? So the point here is Diksha allows close to 200 million children access to digital content. What this content is decided by the respective states. It allows 8 million teachers to get teacher training in different ways than if it was only face to face. So already 150 million courses have been completed by teachers. where they've taken courses on Diksha, right? So it's been, and around 61 billion minutes of learning have happened through Diksha.
Mm.
But does that mean learning has improved? You cannot find a direct correlation,
Mm.
right? So it's a necessary piece of infrastructure,
Yeah.
but it's not sufficient. And there are several other things that have to come on top. And all of these pieces work together. When something as complex as education, it's not just about one technology or one solution. It's about what are the policies, what is the larger infrastructure, what are other programs like midday meal,
Mm.
what is the curriculum we're using to teach, how do we assess our children, how do we handle gifted children, how do we treat specially able children. All of these are questions that go beyond technology and therefore beyond Diksha. But the way in which Diksha is used
Mm.
is very creative and very impactful across many, many states of India.
Yeah. And do you think technology has the scope of bringing out these enhancements in the future?
Short answer is yes, because it depends upon what you mean by technology.
Mm.
Is that's what the best technology is, that which we don't think of as technology.
Mm.
The textbook was technology 250 years ago.
Yes.
We don't think of it as technology, right?
Right.
So think of digital technologies as an extension of the idea that technologies can help, can
Mm.
enable, but cannot lead and should not lead. Technology should help a teacher do her job better. What
Yes.
is her job? Teaching, assessing, providing more practice to some children,
Mm.
uh, looking at data to see what children are liking, looking at data to see where are children not doing well, what kind of questions. Uh, it can allow the teacher to interact with other teachers. But what I realized is a lot of people, when they think of technology in education, somehow they think of personalized learning. They
Mm.
think of teacher is not needed. Now the
Mhm.
child can interact with a machine. That is not education. So education is when four things have to come together: knowledge, attitudes, skills, competencies, and values.
Mm.
And these come together in a structured manner. The curriculum decides that structure. So in this learning journey, there are places where technology can help teacher or child or school administration. So the starting point always has to be the use case and not the technology, which is where a lot of people make a mistake.
Mhm.
EdTech, I think, is not the right word.
Yeah.
There's a problem in which this, there's a solution. In that solution, one part is technology.
Mm.
That I feel is the right way to look at technology in education.
If I can go back to a little bit about your experiences and journey, I feel education is, of course, a very important part of one's life. It defines their individual life and their social life. But
Yeah,
there's also other social spheres such as infrastructure or sanitation or justice that people work in. So how come you personally and as an organization did you choose to work towards education? Like how did that step come about?
yeah. A couple of reasons. One, a country like India, where we were 10 years ago, education and health are the two basic problems we needed to solve. And so we were not that much of experience with health, so we chose education. The second reason is we are who we are because of the education we got. I studied in IITs and IIM, which are entirely funded by citizens, right? So in a sense, there's also a sense of giving back. It is the citizens of this country who paid for my education, right? So this is a way of giving back by working in education.
Also, as coming from the point of view of the youth of this generation or as students, I feel a lot of us think that choosing, like, this is the moment where we choose a path in our life and we have to stick by it for our entire lives. But you have proved that wrong because you initially worked in the corporate sector and then now you're in a development sector, and those are two completely contrasting fields. So, like, would you share some of your experiences or those steps, like how would you led from here to there, and what was the journey like? Because I feel somehow like at least our generation puts too much importance into these things and just forgets that we can always do what we want to do. So, just your experience with that.
Yeah, to be fair, mine was not exactly a planned journey, Nandini. It was not that I thought I started corporate and then moved to development. I
Mm,
started in a classical corporate career after my engineering from IIT Kharagpur and management from IIM Ahmedabad. I did what anybody would do there, join a corporate. And then suddenly, uh, many years ago, entrepreneurship का भूत चढ़ गया.
mm,
A friend was starting a company. He said, "Do you want to help?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" So I literally stumbled into entrepreneurship.
yeah.
But that also was a good journey. It ended well. I sold my company, and practically I retired from work. That's when Aadhaar happened. I met Nandan. So again, I stumbled into government
Mm,
projects. And X step, in a sense, is a continuation of that. So it's a journey of more accidental stumbles than anything planned. But in some ways, each of the prior journey helped me prepare for the next journey.
mm,
My corporate journey taught me the importance of focusing on consumers, on the discipline of execution. The entrepreneurial journey taught me about the importance of there are many stakeholders, employees, customers, partners, funders. You have to make all of them successful. It also taught me the importance of creating value, which is what an entrepreneur does, right? But that value once created is shared with everybody. Government and Aadhaar taught me the importance of scale, of the difficulty of solving public challenges, developmental challenges, and also the importance of good design if you want to solve at the scale and diversity of India, and also the importance of technology. And XStep again has taught me about how a few people can make a big impact, provided you think right, you collaborate with others,
mm.
uh, and you are willing to stay the course. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Right? And you have to be persistent, resilient to achieve whatever goal you have set out to do. So each has taught me different things.
Mm.
I think corporate and all gave me the money, but development sector is what gave me the satisfaction.
Yes. Mm. And even in the development sector, within that itself, you have had two very different experience. One working with the government while you were at Aadhaar, and now without it. So, is there significant like differences in those two experiences as well, since you're working in the same field but in different settings, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So as Aadhaar, you cannot choose that I will give Aadhaar to only these people and not to others.
Mm,
You are given a mandate. and the mandate is the whole country, right? And as part of government, there are a lot of opportunities, but also limitations. Uh, you cannot take the kind of risk you can because it's citizens' money,
Yes.
right? And if anything goes wrong, it has huge consequences for the country, not just for UIDI. So the consequences of a mistake are very big. So people have to think through a lot, be very, very careful about a lot of things. As Extra Foundation, we have more flexibility, we have more freedom. Of course, we don't have the strength and backing of Government of India, but we can be more creative. We can try out more things. We can collaborate with a lot more people that we want. We can start something, if it doesn't work, okay, fine, it didn't work, shut it, try again.
Mm.
Uh, so that's one of the differences, but the end goal is the same. You want to improve the lives of citizens.
Yeah. But working at Step gives you more space for innovation.
It gives us more space, and because the extent part of the journey is after Aadhaar, we know from our experience that to solve something, you need all the three pillars of society. You need Samaj, which is other developmental organizations. You need Sarkar, central, state, local government. You also need Bazaar.
Mm.
So the realization that all three have to come together and work also means each of them speaks a different language,
Mm.
not just literally, but in terms of their worldviews, what is important for them, what they care about, their risk and rewards are completely different. So as Xtep, we have earned ourselves the ability of understanding these different languages
Mm.
and being comfortable to speak with these different elements of society, Sarkar, Samaj, Bazaar, and still get them to all work together. Diksha was one very good example, and we have several such projects now, like AI for personalized learning around basic language and math. Then an initiative around for agriculture called Open AgriNet, another for jobs. How can youth find jobs easily? So as you can see from an original education focus, this idea that technology creates possibilities, but it's the people who choose those possibilities. That is now the core idea that we practice.
Mm. And so, without, you said now that you do not have the backing of the government. So, like, then how do you try to like spread whatever you have created on that extent? Is
Yeah, so when I say we do not have the backing of government, we are not in government. We do not have the
Mm.
power of government.
Mm.
But that does not mean we cannot work with government.
Mm.
So we work closely with central and state ministries on initiatives where we put some technology together to see whether it works or not in a specific use case. One example is several millions of children in India still haven't learned how to read. They will be in grades 4, 5, 6. If you haven't learned how to read, you could be saying ka mein a ki matra, la mein e ki matra, ka li. Just whereas by that age, you should be reading to learn. You should be reading Kali, Ma, whatever quickly, right?
Yeah.
That's the big problem.
Mm.
The problem more as much in government schools as private schools. So we work with state governments who set up these language labs where we provide the AI component
Mm.
and the local NGOs provide the content.
Yeah.
So we partner with state governments, local NGOs to create a solution which the state can then deploy to its citizens.
Mm.
So this model would not have come about if we did not have the experience of working in government, if we did not have the experience of, as extent, working with other NGOs, and if we did not have the comfort of knowing how technology should be used.
Mm. I think I'll come to my last question, which will trace back to my initial question about the goal that you had set out with of reaching over 200 million children. So did this goal ever seem daunting, or at any point did it seem unachievable or something like that?
Great question. So we set this goal in 2015, saying that we want to reach 200 million kids by 2020, 5 years ago.
Yes.
The good news is we ended up reaching close to 200 million.
Mm.
The bad news is we can never know for sure because it's not that those children are getting an X-step solution. So at various points in the first 2 years, we were paranoid. How do we even achieve 2 million, let alone 200 million? Right? But uh, so, in the first 2 years, we tried out various things. But because we set a goal of 200 million, we knew that this path would not take us there.
Mm.
And so we abandoned those paths and we came back and asked the question, what will take us there? And the answer came, what was work with existing school systems, with existing textbooks, with existing teachers. And that is how the idea of Diksha was born. So if we did not have that paranoia, we would not have reached our goal.
Mm.
And if we had set a goal which is very, very low, we will not be paranoid, but we would have ended up with a goal which is much less than what we will achieve.
Yeah.
So my advice to you and your colleagues is when you're setting a goal, watch out for setting a goal which is too low.
Mm.
Because what you might be thinking is this is what I can achieve with my limited resources. But when you think of a goal that you think society or somebody needs to achieve, what you find is others come around to help you because it is no longer your goal.
Mm.
Reaching 200 million, suddenly the government of India is interested.
Yeah.
Suddenly others are interested. Hey, how do you plan to reach 200 million? Because I would never have thought of it. So the kind of conversations you have when you're saying I will target to reach 200 million by 2020 is totally different from when you say 20 million, 2 million, or 200,000. It's not that one is wrong and the other is right.
Mm.
It is, in our case, we were prepared to fail,
Mm.
but we were not prepared to hit a lower target if we could aim higher. We were clear that we would rather aim higher and fall short rather than aim lower and exceed.
Mm.
But not everybody may have that luxury all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wanted to ask, will everyone's like I feel like the goal people try to make their goal proportional to their resources, and would that always be possible to have such a high goal?
It's not always possible, but doesn't mean you cannot try it. Because it's an assumption that the only resources you have is what you control.
Mm.
Creating a larger goal and collaborating with others to convince them that they should also collaborate and work together on this. That to me is the real exciting part of development. It's not easy to do that in the corporate sector. But in the development sector, you'll be surprised, as I was, how people will come forward if you lay out the right vision and articulate what is in it for them to work with you.
Mm. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. I think I will wrap it up now. Thank you so much for joining us. It was very nice to hear about your insights on these topics and very gratifying to know the work and the scale at which you've done, the work you've done for the public. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
And wishing you the very best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.